Hey guys, so if you want to know how to go from this to this, then just keep on watching the video. So I already have my canvas ready and the picture that I'll be using. So I'm gonna be turning Ariana Grande into a cartoon, and what I did was I just clicked this plus icon and selected the size that I want, and you guys know that already. And I created a separate layer to add the picture. And yes, now I'm going to show you how I outline, um, how I went ahead and outlined her. So I just created a separate layer for it, and I'm going to name it outlines like this. And I'm going to be using this brush pen, which comes under calligraphy, and I just love this one for outlines. And I'm going to give you a small tip here. Just increase the streamline up to 50 to 60%. Now what it does is it just avoids any bumps and lumps in your lines. Suppose if we turn it all the way down and I draw a straight line, I get these small bumps, as you can see. I don't know if it is visible or not, but yes, it doesn't look good at all if you're outlining and if you're doing your work for a client. Your work should be neat and clean. So for that, what you do is just increase the streamline up to like 50% is enough, I guess. 50 to 60% is enough. I keep it 52. And now when I draw a line, I do not get any bumps in the line. So yeah, that's a little tip for your outlines, for whatever you do with your work, if you're outlining anything. So yeah, now I'm just gonna decrease the size of the brush and choose the size that you like. I'm gonna be taking this size. I'm gonna outline her. Now, because we have the streamline turned on and increased to 50%, it is going to be easy to outline her. So you'll see. Now this is way too thick for me, so I'm just going to decrease the size a bit more, and I'm going to outline her. Just play around and see what size of the brush you like and start outlining. So I already have my outlines ready, and I was only doing it roughly just to show you guys how to go about it. So now I'm gonna delete this layer and unhide the one that I originally did, like this. Once you have done that, now what you are gonna be doing is, if you want the background like this background, then just pick the color and start painting it in the background like this. Let me show you guys how. Pick this color, increase the size of the brush, and start painting it all over the canvas. But I just don't want this background, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go to the layer where I added the picture, and I'm just gonna erase the background here. Now I'm gonna fill, um, hold on. Now I'm gonna fill these gaps up because it doesn't look good. So what I'm gonna do for that is I'm gonna do that in the same layer that I have the picture inserted in. So I'm just gonna pick this color and I'm just gonna choose a brush. I usually use the airbrush and I'm just gonna start painting it like this so that it doesn't look empty. So the colors that I fill in into those gaps doesn't look good at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blend those color by choosing the blending brush and using the same brush I used to paint the color in the gaps. And make sure to bring down the opacity of the brush because you don't want to overdo it. So bring the opacity down a little bit and maybe the size down, and you're good to go. And I'm going over the edges of the shades that I fill in with. And if you guys want to see how I blend colors in Procreate app, then I can totally make a separate video about it. But for now, I'm just gonna speed up the process. Now I'm gonna choose the same blending brush and I'm gonna go over the skin in her hair, her eyebrows, her eyes, and her lips as well, just to make the colors more flat and just to cancel out any contour or highlights that might be there because we want it to look, um, we don't want it to look realistic, so that is why I am going over with the same blending brush and I'm going over her skin, and make sure to decrease the opacity or else you'll end up messing it up, and choose the size that suits you and just start going over the skin like I am doing here. We're just gonna speed up the process a little bit. So now for her lips, I'm actually going over with the actual lip shade she is wearing in the picture, and I'm just going over her lips just to give it a more cartoonish effect, I should say. And I'm just gonna speed up the process and you'll see what I'm doing. now I'm gonna add a new layer like this, and I'm gonna name it highlights, and I'm gonna be highlighting her nose, her lips, and her cheekbones. Now this really depends up to you, but it does make the sketch look, or I don't know what to call it, it does make it look really good. So I'm gonna do that. So now I'm adding another layer, and I'm gonna be using this layer for blush. Now this is optional, and I'm just being extra here. The key is play with the sketch according to your likings. So that is what I'm doing here. Now I'm gonna add a new layer, and I'm gonna name it tattoo. And what I'm gonna be doing is I am taking a brush from choosing a brush from the luminous set, and I'm gonna take a yellow orangey color, and gonna increase opacity and the size of the brush, and I'm gonna go over her tattoo just to uh, experiment with it a bit, like this. Looks really good. Now let's make the background. So what I do is I just go to the layer 1 and I add another layer and I name it background. Now I'm a really big fan of pastel pinks, so I'm gonna exactly do that, and I'm gonna paint it with airbrush. Now you can again play around with it, like you can choose any brush, the clouds, or I don't know how it's gonna look with the clouds. Yeah, it looks good though, like this. You can add depth to it by painting over with a darker shade of it, like this. But I'm just gonna keep it the way it is already. Or maybe a different kind of brush. I just love playing around with it. This is fun. Okay, I'm gonna use the cotton one. This looks good, even though it just filled it all up. so it doesn't look like I've used any different type of brush. Add texture to it by choosing some darker shades. Yes. Now I'm gonna take a brush from Luminous brush set. I'm gonna choose this one right here. I don't know how to even pronounce that, so I'm not gonna do this shit. I'm gonna choose the lighter shade of the same color. So now I'm done with it and I'm happy with the results, and I hope you guys really enjoyed my video and found it helpful, and do support me by subscribing to my channel and liking to this video if it was helpful. Other than that, I'll see you guys in my next video.